with the internet. I'm not a plural personality. I'm just Ruby Ray. Um, but I'm talking to you. If you are here as a collective, that's what I'm talking about. We are back. We are live again. Um, where was I? Let me open my notes here. Yeah, so I was talking about, and I'll stitch these together in the end, um, and make another video. But uh, with the release of expectations from my family and needing to see them, I enjoyed going back home to my home country. I mean, because I wasn't just sitting in someone's house waiting for their return from work, or having the expectation to be there at night, or worried about causing um, discomfort for them. I could explore, see friends, live my life, and that it's not strange at all. That freedom, that absolute freedom felt liberating. It felt amazing to be able to be an adult citizen in my own country who is financially independent um and and able to do the things that I wanted to do. And that's not something that I ever did growing up, because I went from like earning very little money to moving abroad. So yeah, that there was a major perspective shift for me during that trip when I went to apply for my for my gender marker change, which is still in process today. 9 months, 8 months later, I'm going to phone them after this stream, but oh, maybe I'll phone them during the stream. That should be interesting. About 6 months later, I returned to South Africa to submit fingerprints for these legal documents again, because apparently there was a mistake with them the first time. But by then, communication with my parents had mostly stopped. So I sent them a video on another channel, Kaleidoscope. If you want to watch that, Kaleidoscope PBTS at Echo Perspectives. Um, I sent them a video saying that I would be in the country, and if they wanted to see me, we could meet. My my mother offered to pick me up at the train station, and she offered to let me use her car, but she also dead named me in that process. And in my video, I had asked them to please make an effort, and this is a big deal for me. I don't mind being dead named. I don't mind being dead named in conversation if it happens by accident. But if you're doing it in text, it means that you have conscious thought while you're typing, and that is what you're doing. It's on purpose. So anyway, I told her that she can't do this, and she said that she has the right to dead name me however she pleases, because this is the way she had always known me. And if you are transgender, you will probably have a family member who is of this opinion. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it's so hard to deal with. Um, but here, like, there's a complicated truth to this, because yeah, she does. She does have that right. I, however, have the right not to be dead named, and not to put myself in a situation where somebody is actively doing that to me. So I told her that my identity needed to be respected, or we didn't need to see each other. She then dead named me again and told me that I should enjoy my time in South Africa. Um, yeah, and all of this is very recent. This is all just a couple of weeks ago now. Um, my life sits in a very strange in between place where I'm fully transitioned, socially transitioned, legally transitioned. Everywhere in my life, people see me as Ray, and that is how I live, except at work, because of my passport and my visa that still carry my old identity. And I'm not saying that everybody at work doesn't know, but because I live in this socially conservative space, and the way that I said in the previous live segment, um, you have to keep yourself safe. And for me, right now, that means that my identity needs to align with my passport and my visa. So, since I was hired under that identity, my professional life is somewhat frozen in that place, in this country. But I've made peace with that. I work with children, and they don't need to understand my gender identity or learn about it. Not in this situation, even though I disagree with the way that gender identity is handled in schools um, in most parts of the world. Uh, I live, as I said, in a socially conservative country, and I teach, and they just need to know that I am a teacher. And that is what they call me, Teacher R. And that's enough. As for the professional relationships that I have within there, they're very limited, and the people that I am close with, of course, do know. So, yeah, there we go. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of talking in a short time. I don't know if somebody's here listening about my coming out story, but oh yeah, we got zero. That's fine. That's fine. Moving along. I'm just recording my own video at this point. When you come out to your family, there is often this narrative that appears, and it is something along the lines of, we are being forced to respect your life. And there are a couple of problems with this idea, right? First of all, it's not a lie. Society respects people's identities all the time. If somebody becomes a doctor, we call them a doctor. If someone gets married, we change their surname. Many people change their names, their titles. People reinvent themselves all the time. But somehow gender is treated as the one identity that we can never change. And honestly, the rigidity around gender markers on documents is ridiculous. It's an arbitrary letter on a passport. And in an ideal world, it wouldn't even be necessary to have a gender marker on there aside from uh, truly medical contexts. And even then, a trans woman going through medical transitions body aligns much more with that of a cisgendered woman than a cisgendered man. So that situation then becomes one where F is required for trans women. I'm kind of being a little bit abolitionist here. The reality of gender and biology is much more complicated than people realize. It's not fifth grade science or biology. Um, and in just a few months, for example, I'm having bottom surgery in Thailand. And afterwards, my biology will be even closer to that of a cisgender woman than a cisgender man. There are people born naturally with similar biological variations. Human biology itself exists on a spectrum. There are semi binary instances of this, or you could say expression of the SRY gene or not is binary. That is not an expression, but everything else there is. Chromosomes are on a spectrum. Um, Biological development is on a spectrum. Hormone washes is on a spectrum. Hormone levels are on a spectrum. Brain development is on a spectrum. And all of this is with a self that already exists, that is instilled in a mental schema. And people reshape their bodies through surgery all the time. And of course, the majority of people will be quite happy with the body that they get. The majority of people never buy out of stock tires for their car. The majority of people just go through life driving the basics, right? Um, but this video isn't about explaining that. It just fascinates me that we have this visceral pushback. Um, and I want to acknowledge something that is important. Shock is understandable. When something unexpected happens to someone you love, confusion and discomfort can happen. And that initial shock is human. But the key word there is initial. Love means working through that shock. Love means learning and accepting someone for who they are, not trying to dictate who you think they should be. So, did I cut my family off? No, I didn't. I set a boundary. It's a very, very, very simple boundary. Respect my identity. That's it. So, some people call that an ultimatum, but it isn't. It's the same kind of boundary we use in everyday life. We all have boundaries about personal space, about how people speak to us, about how we're treated. This is a simple boundary around my name and my gender. Ruby Ray, the girl, the woman. Um, a name that coincidentally is quite similar to the nicknames people used for me before. And I thought that that might make the transition easier for people, but it didn't. Of course, I didn't choose the name to appease people. I chose the name because I love the name. This is the name that I resonate with. It makes me happy to see this name written down. I am ecstatic about my signature, and I feel this bubble of joy in my chest every time I see my name. Something finally has clicked into place. And I think everyone should have the chance to choose their own name at some point in their life. We are given names at birth, and that's fair. But the ability to shape our own identity is part of being human, and because expression is how we interact with with our world, our names, our clothes, our actions, our professions, our art, all of it is expression. And aligning that expression with who you really are is completely reasonable. In a strange way, I think the first step of that journey for me started years ago when I got my first tattoo. Not because tattoos define identity, of course, but because uh, they materially change the way that you view your own body in the world. I don't regret any of my tattoos. Some people do and have them changed, and then they're very happy. Some people regret them forever. The minority. But for me, my tattoos represent a piece of who I am, and I think that people should feel empowered to shape their own identities. Of course, with that empowerment comes a sense of responsibility to understand yourself and to live honestly. Responsibility to accept the consequences of living authentically. And for me, authenticity was worth it, even if it meant losing things I never expected to lose. Because once you know who you are, pretending to be someone else becomes impossible. like, like, t- I have visceral, material, physical reactions against pretending. Um, so my bottom line is if you're going through something similar, you're not alone. And sometimes the hardest journey you'll ever take is the one that leads you to yourself. That's it for today's stream. I'm not sure if anybody actually came to watch, but I had fun. That's the bottom line. I had a lot of fun doing this, and maybe next time I'll increase into other channels as well. I'm gonna edit this into a video now and be on stream again next time. Yeah. I love you. I love you all, and I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you again soon.